Hello. And just what does the word black really mean? That's what we want to know. What does the word black really mean? Hello, hello, hello. I'm waiting on Abdul to come back, but until then, I want to show you a video and get your feedback on it. Abdul, we're live. Say hi to everyone.
Peace, everyone. Peace.
All right. Abdul, just talk to the people for a second. Let me get situated in the back.
Yes. Tonight's topic is Black, a nationality, national origin, national identity.
Okay. Follow the word back, and they know what the word means. People are playing games for the sake of positioning.
What is the evidence?
You won't find anybody living in North Africa calling themselves.
Right, so we're going. This is a.
Who call themselves Moors.
This is going to be a sound bite from Professor Smalls. I'm going to start. This is a sound bite from Professor Smalls, and he gives the lineage of the name Moor. All right, but we're gonna. I want us to listen. You won't be able to show the video. You're just gonna only present the audio. Are set.
We're going to show the video. You can just keep talking. It'll come up once it comes up in about 5 minutes. But you can.
All right, good.
Just continue.
Now I want you to look and listen to what he doesn't. Well, can't. He presents one side. You know, he'll present the Moor and its lineage from the various Moor in various languages. All right, and makes the claim that our people are not Moors and that no one in Africa is, call themselves Moors, but he does not do the genealogy, present the genealogy of Black. Doesn't present the genealogy of Black, the history of the word, its modern form. He doesn't present any of that. So I just want us to, I want us to look at this. We're going to, I'm going to teach the audience tonight on how to address
Moors is the
situations like this. How do we counter?
Which is the Spanish
corruption when we are engaging with co-workers or family members or so forth.
Follow the word back, and they know what the word means.
So,
okay.
People are playing games.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Can we start from the beginning?
Right. You won't find anybody living in North Africa calling themselves Moors. Who call themselves Moors? If they want to use the ancient European, Moors is the English corruption of Moorish, which is the Spanish corruption of Moorish, which is the Roman corruption of Merosh, which is the Greek word for black. Okay.
Let's listen one more time.
You know what the word means. People are playing game for the sake of positioning like on a chessboard, right? You won't find anybody living in North Africa calling themselves Moors. Who call themselves Moors? If they want to use the ancient European, Moors is the English corruption of Moorish, which is the Spanish corruption of Moorish, which is the Roman corruption of Merosh, which is the Greek word for black. Okay. Follow the word back, and they know what the word means. People
I had to listen to it several times,
positioning like on a chessboard, right?
To see what he was saying. So,
all right,
we played it 3 times.
Played it 3 times. So
Marush,
can you
Marish.
mhm. Can you bring up the my information? All right. Is black in nationality, national origin, national black is black in nationality, national identity, national origin of a people. Where is the evidence? A forensic approach to tracing more as the nationality, national identity, national origin of our people. I have something that popped up. A forensic approach to tracing more to the nationality, national identity, national origin of our people, a big leap to the past, or a forensic approach to the past. Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey, analyzing Professor Small's comments about the name Moor. Professor Smalls only focused on the meaning of Moor. He did not address the fact that the name Moor appears in Moorish treaties negotiated in the 1500s, 1600s, and 1700s and 1800s with various European kingdoms. Professor Smalls did not address the fact that the name Moor appears in letters written by European rulers addressing ransoming and captivity strategies. Professor Smalls did not give the etymology of the word black. The word black is a modern English form. Modern English is just a little over 500 years old. So we're going to look at here the English language. We have Old English, 400 to 1100 period. So that's 400 AD to 1100 AD. Middle English, next page. Middle English, 1100 AD to 1500 AD. Got to go down the next. Show the. Here we go. Yes, Middle English, 1100 to 1500. Modern English, 1500 to the present. Now, when you look at if you go into a dictionary and it has the section how to use this dictionary, every dictionary has that section. And one of the sections in the how to use the dictionary section of the dictionary would be language label. Language label. So you have you look up the word black in the dictionary, and they'll go say the language label. What is the language label for the word? So with someone, with someone discussing black, what is the language label? Is it that form, BLACK, that language label? It's modern English. So let's look at here the etymology and genealogy of the word black. The Indo-European root, Indo, coming from the Sanskrit, is Sindhu. Sindhu, when there is a book, and I'm going to explain as I go along. There's a book written by Stanley Poole in the medieval India and Mohammedan rule. Medieval India and Mohammedan rule, under Mohammedan rule, by Stanley Poole, from 713 to 717. From 713 to 717. So you're looking at the Osman dynasty reign power over what they call India today. So Sindhu, Sindhu was Arabicized to Hindu. The S was removed. The S was removed. The SHINDU, Sindhu. The S was removed. So removing a letter or sound at the beginning of the word. All right. So removing a letter, aphoresis. Aphoresis is the linguistic process of dealing with sound shift, of removing a letter at the beginning of the word. So the S went through that aphoresis process, and then changing the sound by removing the S from Sindhu to Hindu. All right, that's from Sanskrit. It was Arabianized by removing the S, Hindu. When the British took over in the late after 1720s, the British took over. They anglicized. So the British removed the H. The British removed the H, anglicizing it to India. Sindhu, Hindu, Arabianized Hindu to India or Indus. So I just want, so Indo-European root, and I'll continue. Sir Walter Jones. Sir Walter Jones studied in 1717. He studied Sanskrit at the University of Calcutta in 1717. So with Sir Walter Jones having studied Sanskrit at the University of Calcutta, he saw that, you know, and being taught Sanskrit and observed the fact that, you know, these different family of languages. So he developed, after having studied Sanskrit, family of languages chart that you'll see in the American Heritage Dictionary. If you Google the family of language chart, you'll see that. So Sir Walter Jones, and you'll see that the family of the family of languages, and then grouping. So you have what's called the Indo-Iranian. You have the Romance languages, which is Latin and Spanish and Portuguese, French, Italian. You have the Germanic languages, which English, Middle English, Old English, German, Old High German, Low German, Danish, Dutch, Swedish, Old Frisian, Old Norse. Those are Germanic languages. So this is the breaking down into your family of languages. So modern English, Old English, Middle English, and Modern English fit into the family of language Germanic. So modern English is a Germanic language. So modern that form of Germanic language is only 500 years old. So that the form Black. So here we go. So I just want to be able to explain everything. All right, because I'm going to put this. I'm placing it in this topic in the context. All right. So you have the Indo-European root blag, to burn, shine. Indo-European root for the modern English word form Black. Sanskrit, Bhargat, radiance. The Greek form, phlegian, to burn, scorch. So the BH in Sanskrit and also the Indo-European form is transliterated to a PH in Greek. Then we have the Latin, phlegiere, to blaze, glow, burn. The PH in Greek is transliterated to the F in Latin. All right, so here we go. Then we have the Proto-West Germanic, Black, B-L-A-K, from the Proto-Germanic Blagzat, Balaz, burnt. All right, so the F in Latin, or the Latin languages, so you have in the, so it's the PH in Greek and transliterated to F in Latin. So the Latin languages, Italian, Portuguese, French, it's F. So from the Latin, it's transliterated to B in the Germanic languages. So you have your Latin languages and your Germanic languages. So it's transliterated from the F to the B. So that Germanic languages, once again, you have German, High German, Low High German. You have Old Phrygian. You have Norse, Old Norse, Sweden, Dutch, Danish, Old English, Middle English, Modern English. It would all be B's. It would all be the B's. B. All right. So you have here Danish. All right. Form. Blacken, to burn. Old High German, blah. Old Norse, blakar, dark. Old English. Now that Old English is BLE. That AE is actually close, really close. That's called a legend. That's called a legation. A legation where you have the A and E are touching, or like almost like literally a small overlaps. All right, it doesn't appear here, but if you looked at the Old English form, that's called a TION, where the A and E are somewhat overlapping. All right, that's called a legation. I have to explain that as I'm going. Middle English, BLAK. Modern English, BLACK. So this form, BLACK, is no older than 500 years old. Now, Professor Smalls did not do this, so I'm doing it. He did not do this. Professor Smalls tells our people that they're black. He tells our people that they're black, but he doesn't do this, though. We're not Moors. Remember, we're not Moors, but we're black. We're not Moors, but we're black. We're not Moors, but we're black. Right. We're not Moors, but we're black. I got you. So this modern English form, this is what we are, black. All right. We're not Moors. So the focus of if you heard it, Set played it 3 times. The focus was only on the meaning. He get the various forms of the word and the meaning of more. As I mentioned earlier, as I stated on the first page, Professor Smalls did not present the fact that more, the name more, appears in treaties. And I have that here in this presentation. The name more appears in treaties, 1700 treaties. The name more, treaties between the Moroccan Empire and France, Moroccan Empire and Great Britain / England, the Moroccan Empire and the Netherlands, Algiers and France, Algiers and Great Britain, Algiers and the Netherlands, Tunis and France, Tunis and the Netherlands, Tunis in England, Tripoli in France, Tripoli in the Netherlands, Tripoli in England. So you see the name more, and you'll see those. So, and there was treaties between the Moroccan Empire and Sweden, and Moroccan Empire and Belgium, Moroccan Empire and Portugal, Moroccan Empire and Spain. And you see the more. and treaties. So he doesn't, the general public not aware of this. I've done a forensic study. What I mean by that, forensic. You know, you follow, I didn't leap 2,000, 3,000 years in the past. I start, you know, where you are, and you trace. You trace as you do with etymology. I say, let's go. So we're here. So this is a forensic approach. A forensic approach. We start with black. We start with modern English form, black, B-L-A-C-K, modern English form. Then you trace that back to Middle English, back to Old English. And you see it and you say, well, this is the various forms in the Germanic languages. Then you trace it to the Latin languages. All right, F form. Then you trace it through Greek. All right, you're doing a forensic approach. You're tracing. I'm not leaping from B-L-A-C-K. I'm not leapfrogging. I'm doing a forensic approach and tracing it. All right, we're not Moors. So let's continue. The compound word blackamoor. Compound word blackamoor. Black plus more. Notice that the word black is not capitalized, while more is capitalized. This is blackamoor in the 1599 Geneva Bible. Once again, notice that the word black is not capitalized, while more is capitalized. This is 1599 Geneva Bible, Jeremiah 38:10. Then the king commanded Ebed-Melech the blackamoor, saying, take from hence 30 men with thee, and take Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he died. This is Jeremiah 38:12. And Ebed-Melech the blackamoor said unto Jeremiah, put down these old rotten rags and worn under thy arms hold between the cords, and Jeremiah did so. I should have had this here, a set. If you can look up, you get a chance, the King James Version. Jeremiah 38:10, King James Version. Jeremiah 38:10, King James Version. All right, and I should have had, I'm just thinking about it right now, a set, so I apologize. All right, so if you can find it, I'm just going to tell them. So y'all, someone put it in the chat. Then. All right, the King James Version of Jeremiah 38:10. All right, I should have had it here because I need the people to see that the word more is not there. The word more, this is 1599, the 1611 King James Version reads basically the same. Jeremiah 38:10 reads basically the same, except the word more is not there. They have Egyptian or Ethiopian. So the word, so blackamoor is substituted with the word Ethiopian in the 1611 King James Version. Ooh, ain't that something? Seems like a cover-up, a burial. What? A burial from the 1599 Geneva Bible. You have blackamoor. The 1611 King James Version, look it up, because I don't want anyone to say Abdullah said anything. And that's why I want to have here, please. I do not want anyone to say Abdullah said anything. I don't want people to say Abdullah said in the 1611 King James Version, Jeremiah 38:10. It reads Ethiopian. I don't want, no, look it up so that you can say All right. Isn't it more effective for you to say, the listening audience, in the King James Version, 1611 King James Version, Jeremiah 38:10, it reads Ethiopian, as opposed to saying, well, Abdullah Bey said in the King James Version, 1611 King James Version, it reads, what's more powerful? What's more effective? What's more effective? I'm doing this as I'm teaching strategy, y'all, because it's too much of this. It's too much of so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said, that you're not empowered. You're not, I want to empower you. So I don't want you to say I said anything. I want to empower you. You're not empowered. You're not going to impress me. You would disappoint me by saying Abdullah said. You would disappoint me. You will not impress me. You will not impress me by saying Abdullah said. You would disappoint me. All right, continuing. Jeremiah, I have to do this, I said, all right, because I got to really have this stick into their minds. Jeremiah 39:16. Remember, I got 30 years of observation. 30 years of observation, thousands of people. So these comments are not coming out of thin air. They're not coming from 6 years. They're not coming from 6 months of observation, 3 months of observation, 1 or 2 years of observation, 30 years of observation, thousands of people. And that so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said is prevalent among this Moorish movement. That's a weakness that we have to eradicate. Jeremiah 39:16. Go and speak to Ibn Malik the Blackmore, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil and night for good. All right. So you see, so you have Blackmore. Once again, what I said is that go look it up for yourself. The 1611 King James Version, it reads Ethiopian. So that is a burial. Burial. I don't they want people to see the word Blackmore. I know when they see the word Blackmore. What's the motive of this burial? All right, next page. Y'all gonna learn tonight. All right. This is thought-provoking question 1, excerpt from Moors and Masonry Part 2. All right, this is in chapter 3. Those who have Moors and Masonry Part 2, all right, this is actually in Part 2. I think it's thought-provoking question 3. This is thought-provoking question 3 in Moors and Masonry Part 2, but I have it here as Part 1 because of, it's because of this presentation. All right. So author Abdullah El Talib Bey, yours truly. And this is Moors and Masonry Part 1. Part 2. Right. What historical documentary evidence can be used to prove that the word black is the national identity, nationality of a nation of people that existed as a national body of people under a national constitutional covenant in the annals of history? A, names of heads of states, emirs, emperor, sultan, empress, queen, king, caliph, emir, bey, dey, president, prime minister. B, treaties. C, war records. D, amity records. E, diplomatic correspondences. F, consular records. G, proclamations by heads of government. H, consuls commission papers. I, listing of ambassadors. J, listing of consuls. K, embassies. L, consulates. M, national constitution. N, national covenant. O, all in the above. And you will see this when you, for more, you will see this evidence. You will see this evidence, this evidence for more, but you will not see it for black. You can go to look these up as evidence to prove that more is a nation of people. More is the name of a nation of people. That's evidence that more as is evidence. Continuing. Thought-provoking question 2. Excerpt from Mosi Bey Part 2. Author, yours truly. I think this is thought-provoking question number 3. I think it's number I'm not sure what number it is in part 1. Part 2. What is the historical documentary evidence proving the existence of an empire, kingdom, nation, state, ecclesiastical society, and people? What is the historical documentary evidence proving the existence of an empire? All right. So we have here what is historical doc for 1, which historical exact documentary evidence can be used to prove that the word black is national. So this one is, what is the historical documentary evidence proving the existence of an empire, kingdom, nation, state, ecclesiastical society, and people? The Moroccan Empire didn't exist. Nah, Abdullah, Moroccan Empire didn't exist. Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I can prove it. I can prove that the Moroccan Empire existed. You know, in list of emperors, and I can prove it. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Abdullah, what we use to prove it? All right, here we go. Names of heads of states, emperors, sultans, emirs, kings, queens, caliphs, emir, bey, dey, president, prime minister. B, treaties, Moorish treaties. Oh, all right. War records, yes. War records, Admiralty records in England, Admiralty records in Portugal, Admiralty records in France, Admiralty records in Sweden, Admiralty records in Belgium, Admiralty records in Sardinia. Or we can go to the National Archives in France, National Archives in England, National Archives in Belgium and Sweden. We can go to historical societies in France, historical society in Belgium, Argonne, Castile, Spain, historical societies in Sweden. Oh, National Archives in the United States, National Archives in other European countries. Oh, a preponderance of evidence. Also, the National Archives in, in other areas, countries. So let's move to the next page. Set. We have embassies, consulate, national constitution, national covenant, all of the above. More as the focal point in European kingdoms' politics, treaties, trading, commerce, diplomatic, and consular relations. Read this again. More as the focal point in European kingdoms, politics, treaties, trading, commerce, diplomatic, and consular relations. Moors and Masonry Part 1, a preponderance of evidence. The fiction and law category of black as a constructive language prevents the inheritance of the Moors from being passed down. The name Moor appears in Moorish bilateral treaties with the European kingdom from the 1500s to the 1800s. Moorish bilateral treaties with the European kingdoms as documentary evidence of the existence of the Moors as a nation of people protected under treaties. Treaty of Peace between England and Algiers, April 23rd, 1662. Article 7, that in the cafe any of His Majesty's subjects should happen to strike a Turk or a Moor, strike a Turk or a Moor, if he be taken, let him be punished. But if he escape, nothing shall be said to the English consul, nor to any other of his said majesty's subjects upon that account. See more right there in the treaty. No, Moor's not a people. All right, yes. You're right. Moor's not a people. Moors, what's that? Moron. Moor's not a people. Moor they ain't no such people. Huh? Moor? Huh? A set, Moor people. A set, there ain't no such people called Moors. Moors never existed. Nah, a set, you jiving me, a set. Moors ain't no such people. All right, continue. I'm doing this to invoke thought, get people's attention, keep people awake. All right. Next page. All right. Articles of Peace and Commerce between Great Britain and Tripoli, signed at Tripoli, March 15, 1676. Article 15. That in the case any subject of His Majesty being in any part of the kingdom of Tripoli happen to strike, wound, or kill a Turk or Moor, if he be taken, he is to be punished the same manner and with no greater severity than a Turk ought to be, being guilty of the same offense. But if he escape, neither the said English consul nor any other of his said Majesty's subjects shall be in any port question or trouble thereof. Therefore, Treaty of Peace between Great Britain and Tripoli, signed Tripoli, 19th July 1716, Article 12, that in case any subject of His Majesty being in any part of the kingdom of Tripoli happen to strike, kill, or wound a Turk or Moor. So we'll stop there, right? So next one, Article of Peace and Commerce. Articles on Peace and Commerce. All right. We have the Treaty of Peace and Commerce between Great Britain and Morocco, signed Fez, the 28th July 1760. Article 7. All right, let me see where Moore is. Moore's at the very bottom, so I don't want to have to read all of this. So we go to the bottom, right? Because the point is, I'm showing that Moore appears. We go right to that sentence here, right? I'm not going to that the testimony descent be carried into execution as in recovery of his debt, and further declares that no subject of His Britannic Majesty shall be obliged to give satisfaction for any other debt but what shall be connected by himself or shall appear by his accounts, that the subjects of the emperor, that the subject of the emperor of Fez and Morocco, as well Moors as Jews residing in the dominion of the kingdom of Great Britain, shall enjoy the same privileges that are granted to the English residing in Barbary, and that the domestic servants of the consuls and other subjects of His Britannic Majesty, or whatever nation they may be, either Moors or others, shall not pay the tax called the poll tax or any other tax. All right, let's go here. We have the Treaty of Peace and Commerce between Great Britain and Morocco, signed Fez, July 28, 1760. Article 24. All right, go to article, move up a set. Next page. Yeah,
Okay.
next page. So they can see. That's not. Where is it? All right, here we go. All right, here we go. And lastly, it is agreed and concluded that when His Excellency Mark Malbank Esquire, His Britannic Majesty's ambassador, arrives at the court or where he shall receive his audience, or during the time he stays in the dominion of the empire, he shall never in any manner be asked or interrogate by the emperor, his servants, or any other person, either Christian, Moor, or Jew, relating to any prize or prizes made by his Titanic Majesty's ship of war or privateers, neither shall he meet with any insult or affront by application on, on that or any other manner. It is being clearly understood that the 225,000 pesos duros, which are paid exclusive of the 200,000 peso duros for the redemption, are the entire satisfaction of all difficulties, differences, or pretenses, disputes, or any sort, depending between their imperial and Britannic majesties, their subjects of the inhabitants of their dominion, and to cement a true and invaluable peace and friendship between the two nations. It is further agreed that the consul or consuls of His Britannic Majesty shall not pay any debts, any duties for their furniture, clothes, or baggage, or any other necessities, necessaries, which they shall at time have occasion to bring to the emperor's dominion for the consumption of them or their family in their houses. This is the Moors and Masonry part one. Moors and Masonry part one. These excerpts of treaties are Moors and Masonry part one. All right. So it's also good that I got from the Consolidated Treaty Series. Consolidated Treaty Series by Clyde Perry. Consolidated Treaty Series edited by compiled by Clyde Perry, Clive Perry, Perry, and it's an encyclopedia of treaties dating from 1632 to 1919. All right. I got Rutgers University Law Library, Camden, New Jersey. Rutgers University Law Library, Camden, New Jersey has the Consolidated Treaty Series, Clyde Perry. All right. The whole encyclopedia of those treaties. All right. So we have here, so this is once again doing a forensic. I'm going to give you, and the sundry free Moors. Sundry means various. Sundry free Moors. In 1790, 4 Moors who had purchased their freedom. They purchased their Samuel, Francis, Hammett, and Daniel had purchased their freedom as well as their wives' freedom. They petitioned the South Carolina, the South Carolina General Assembly for a clarification of their legal status. For clarification of their legal status. It was determined that these 8 Moors were indeed Moors and was subject to a prince, in this case, an emperor, an alliance, has formed an alliance with the United States. That's the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787, which was signed by Muhammad ibn Abdullah in July 1786. And that these 8 Moors were not subject to the laws of South Carolina or to the laws of the United States, as they were protected under that treaty, under that Moorish treaty with the United States, and was subjects of in the protection of the Emperor of Morocco. So, but we're not, there's no people called Moors. There was ever no people ever called Moors. Ever. There's ever no people that's called Moors. What's that? Moron. All right, so we have got 9:32. We got some time. All right. Muhammad al-Hajj al-Daleh, Emperor of Morocco, 1659, 1663, and King Charles III, second of England, is reigned from 1660 to 1685. Morocco's second ambassador to England, Qad Mohammed bin Hadu Attar, arrived to London in December 8, 1681, and met with King Charles II on the 11th of January, 1682. King Charles II of England issued a royal land grant in 1662 to English merchants who were Puritans. You have the Treaty of Peace between England and Algiers. This is April 23rd, 1662. The Algerian Dey negotiated a treaty of peace with King Charles II for the release of Moors, people who never existed, Turks and Muslims in English captivity. For the Algerian Dey, the treaty was a key factor in establishing peace, as England had been heavily involved in owning and trading Moors. Of course, there were never people called Moors. Never, of course. There's no such people called Moors. Of course, how dare you up there? There's no such people called Moors. All right, the 5th of October, 1662, Treaty of Peace and Commerce between Great Britain and Tunis, signed at Tunis. You have the 18th Treaty of Peace between England and Tripoli, signed at Tripoli. That's October 18, 1662. You have the Treaty of Peace between England and Algiers, and this deals with matters of Moors. You'll see, as you see here, that 1662 treaty between England and Algiers. All right. So of course, there's no people called Moors. All right. Ever existed. All right. Next page. So it's easy for someone to say that when they don't have this evidence. The general public does not have this, so it's easy to say to to give a speech in front of 200, 300 people who think they're more black. Like it's easy to you give a speech in front of 200 people, 300 people who think they're black, and they never know people called Moors. And of course, they're going to, side with you. They're going to side with you because you got a captive audience. They don't know Jack. They're going to side with you. They don't have this information. See? And then you're going to use them, point to them. What? They don't know anything. And so I'm seeking to empower y'all. You have to be empowered with documentary evidence. Thought-provoking question 3. Excerpt from Moors and Masonry Part 2, author Abdullah El Talib Bey. Question: what do the Moroccan Empire and dynasties, military engagements, wars, admiralty, commercial, trading, mercantile, maritime, merchant, and seafaring powers, as well as treaties, diplomatic and consular relations strategies, captivity and ransoming strategies with European kingdoms between the 700s and the 1800s prove? Answer: one thing the Moorish power proves is that the names Morocco and Moor were predominant names that dominated the military engagements, wars, commercial trading, mercantile, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic and consular strategies, captivity and ransoming strategies of the European kingdoms between the 700s and 1800s. Get your questions ready. Get your questions ready. From 10 to 10:30, we'll have question Q&A session. Thought-provoking question 4. Excerpts from Moorish Masonry Part 2. Your author, yours truly. The author, yours truly. What is the motive of the historical cover-ups of the predominance of the names Morocco and Moor in the military engagements, wars, commercial, trading, mercantile, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic strategies, captivity and rationing strategies of the European kingdoms between 700s and the 1800s? What is the motive of this cover-up? Setting the stage for the acceptance of the transatlantic slave trade claim. Let me read that question again. What is the motive of the historical cover-ups of the predominance of the names Morocco and Moor in the military engagements, wars, commercial, trading, mercantile, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic strategies, captivity and rationing strategies of the European kingdoms between the 700s and 1800s? That's the Moorish Empire in Europe. The Moorish Empire in Europe from 711 to 1492. All right. The Moorish power during the 15, 16, 1700s. The Moorish sea power in the Mediterranean Atlantic during the 15 and 1600s. Setting the stage for the acceptance of the transatlantic slave trade claims. The Atlantic world framework and studies during the 15, 16, and 1700s do not include the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman dynasty house and empires, military engagements, wars, commercial, trading, mercantile, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic, and consular relations. There's been a burial. Don't mention it because it raises questions. So this Atlantic world framework, you have these African scholars have that framework. The African scholars, this Atlantic world framework and studies what they're doing is 15, 16 to 1700s do not include. Why not? Why not? Continue, next page. How did the Europeans come to world power and domination? How did the Europeans come to world power and domination? A high school history teacher classified as Black in the United States Census Bureau asked me this question while discussing my book, Moorish Masonry, Part 1, with him in September of 2011. I answered the question. Europeans came to world power and domination by defeating the Moors. The archival evidence shows a correlation between the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman dynasty house empires' decline in world power and domination, and the Europeans' rise to world power and dominance. The transatlantic slave trade story of the transportation of 12 million Africans from the continent of Africa to North America, South America, Central America, including the adjoining islands Americana during the 15, 16, and 1700s, is central to current European domination in world trade and commerce. Scholars have said that the national identity of the people whose ancestors were purported to have been transported from the continent of Africa to the Americas is unknown. This claim, however, can be challenged. The Moorish bilateral treaties with France, England, besides Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sardinia, and Belgium during the 15, 16, 17, 1800s are the documentary evidence that directly correlates to the decline in power and influence in world trade and commerce of the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman dynasty house, and to the rise in power in world trade and commerce of the Spaniards, Portuguese, French, Dutch Republic, the Netherlands, the English, British. Moors and Masonry Part 1 brings the buried Moorish history to the public with the presentment of documentary evidence of the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman dynasty house and empires, military engagements, wars, commercial, trading, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic and consular strategies, captivity and advancement strategies with the European kingdoms, France, Netherlands, England, Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, Denmark, and Sardinia between the 15 and 1800s. Writings of European world conquest, exploration, settlement, and colonization, as well as the historical burial of Moorish seafaring, trading, and commercial power and dominance in the Atlantic and Mediterranean between the 700s and 1700s, set the stage for the transatlantic slave trade story. Next page. Moors and Masonry, Part 1 explores the possible link among the historical cover-up of Moorish seafaring, trading, commercial power during the 15, 16, and 1700s, the historical burial of extensive diplomatic, consular, and treaty relations of the Moroccan Empire, Ottoman Dynasty Empire with the European kingdoms, the historical burial of the European kingdoms paying annual tribute to the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman Empire, so their ships could sail on the high seas without being molested. The historical burial of the Moroccan Empire, Ottoman Empire, captivity of hundreds of thousands of Europeans. The historical burial of the European kingdoms paying ransom to the Moroccan Empire and Ottoman Empire for the release of the Europeans, with the context of the claim of 12 million Africans being transported from the continent of Africa to North America, South America, Central America, and the adjoining islands Americana during the 15, 16, and 1700s. Moors and Masonry Part 1 challenges the reader to re-examine the transatlantic slave trade claims. Moors and Masonry Part 1 also puts the statement made by Robert Davis, professor of Italian Renaissance history, Ohio State University, in historical context, shedding light on the motives of the historical suppression of the Moorish captivity and ransoming of Europeans, English, Scottish, Irish, Dutch, Swedes, Danes, French, Spaniards, Portuguese, Sardinians, etc. between the 700s and 1800s. The enslavement of Europeans, this is Robert Davis' statement. The enslavement of Europeans doesn't fit the general theme of European world conquest and colonization that is central to the scholarship on the early modern era. Robert Davis, professor of Italian Renaissance history at Ohio State University. All right, so got 936. Framework of the law of nations, public international law, principles, treaties, conventions, acts, covenants, diplomacy, ambassadors, ministers, plenipotentiaries, consular relations, and jurisdictions, trade and commerce between kingdoms and nations. On the next page. Blackamoor, black plus more. Blackamoor is a compound word. That's black, which is adjective, more, proper noun. Notice again, redirecting your attention to 1599 Geneva Bible. The word black is not capitalized, while the name Moor is capitalized. A clue to the national identity of the people classified as the fictioning law of black, an historical cover-up of the nationality, national identity of a nation of people, deconstructing the Moorish consanguinity, ancestry, descent, and national origin with the fictioning law category of black. From Moor to Blackamoor to black, an act of mass denationalization. From Moor to Blackamoor to black, an act of mass denationalization. An international crime against humanity. Black, Blackamoor, compliment, an adjective, Moor, the proper noun. Blackamoor's head, Moor, 5 Negro heads. Blacks had 3 Moors heads. Other variations of Blackmore, Blackmore, J. Rogers, Nature Knows the Color Line. Blackmore, Ethiop, and Negro used interchangeably with Moor. Excerpts from J. Rogers, Nature Knows no Color Line. Chapter 6, The Negro as Moor, Negro Ancestry in Aristocratic European Families. All right, so let's go back to Professor Smalls.
Oh,
Professor Smalls
okay. I got to
did not only focus on meaning of more, just meaning of more. Okay. Greek word, we're going to take the Greek, black, but did not present the fact that more appears in treaties. Moorish treaties, and more appears in letters, that more was predominant. The name more predominant among European kingdoms in the 1700s, 800s, 900s, 1000, 1100s, 1200s. The Crusades against the Moors. In the Trinitarian established in 1198, and the Mercedarian established in 1238. These are 2 redemption orders that raised money. The purpose was to raise money to get Europeans out of Moorish captivities. This was a major issue. You had whole coastal lines of Europe wiped out by the Moors, a people that never existed. A people never existed. Moor, what's that? Moron. All right. Tell these Europeans that the Moors never existed. Tell Linda Colony that. Tell Robert Davis that. Tell Matir Matar that. Nabir Matar that. Tell these scholars whose books I have in the back of the bibliography section of Moors and Masonry Part 1. Tell them that they've done extensive research, that there's no such people called Moors. Tell them that. Tell them that these people never existed. Tell them that. The Shriners, the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, now called Shriners International. These are the Europeans, established in 1871. There's 206 shrine temples. Each shrine temple uses a Moorish name for their temple. And there we have, you see the fairs. You have 150 grotto temples. That's the mystic order of the veiled prophet of the chanting realm. They wear a black fez, while the Shriners wear the red or burgundy fez. Tell them. So look at this cover up. See, Moors, not a people, and see, not Moors. There's nobody in Africa, North Africa. Nobody in North Africa calling themselves Moor. All right. So just ignore all this history that the general public does not have. I come with documentation. You don't need to say Abdullah said anything. There's no need to say Abdullah said anything. That's why we have this up here. All right. J. Rogers presented documentary evidence of the predominant use of the name Moor among Europeans in chapter 6 of his book, Nature Knows No Color Line, by showing that the Europeans often use Moor interchangeably with Negro in literature. Note, Moor is not a synonym for or interchangeable with the name Negro as used in dictionaries and books on heraldry, referenced in Nature Knows No Color Line. Note, Moorish bilateral treaties during the 15, 16, and 1700s proved that the name Morocco and Moor were predominant names that dominated the military engagements, war, commercial, trading, mercantile, merchant, seafaring, diplomatic, consular strategies, captivity and ransoming strategy of the European kingdoms between the 15 and 1800s. Next page. Moor for Negro continued to be in general use. Moor for Negro continue to be in people that never existed called Moor. What's Moor? What's that? Moron. Idiot. Moor for Negro continued to be in general use in England until at least the 18th century. That's the 1700s. Nathaniel Bailey, compiler of the first English dictionary, 1736, has Moor or Black Moor, 1736, a native of Mauritania. Dr. Samuel Johnson, 1755, has Moor, mortals, Latin, a Negro, Black Moor. Christopher Marlowe in Lust Dominion, or the Lascivious Queen, written before Shakespeare Othello, the Moor. Also, Shakespeare Othello, the Moor. Main character, Othello, the Moor. Also used Negro and Moor interchangeably several times. This play deals with the illicit love of Eliza, Prince of Fez, Morocco, with the Queen of Spain, who had a child by him. Richard Broome, in his English Moor, 1659, used Blackamoor, Ethiop, and Negro interchangeably on a single page. Ben Jonson, 1602, in his Masque of Lackness, which deals with Ethiopia, says it was famous by the name Niger, of which the people were called Nigrite, now Negroes, and are the blackest nation in the world. In the Doomsday Book, the Great Survey made in 1085 to 1086 by the order of William the Conqueror are to be found with the name Moor or derivatives of Moor, Mauritanian, that is Mauritania or Morocco. The earls and dukes of Dorset used to call their Negro valets John Morocco. Note, the Moorish bilateral treaties with the European kingdoms negotiated during the 15, 16, 1700s do not interchange Moor and Negro. All right, so this is my point here, right? Moors also appeared by thousands in European heraldry and except in very rare instances, are shown as coal black and with Negro hair. The earliest representation I have been able to find of any are in the arms of Argonne which has 4 Moorish kings killed in battle by Pedro VIII, king of Aragon, on November 18, 1096. All are shown as jet black. Oh, so the people, Google y'all, Kingdom of Morocco. Google news reporters. Google heads of states. Google president, government officials. Google, see pictures of the Kingdom of Morocco. What do they look like? What do they look like? Do they look like, we talking about 1096? Do they look like the people that's being described here? So what happens is, they look at today. Yeah. See, we ain't Moors. See, look at what they look like. See? Look what's going on. All throughout Europe, the coat of arms of European families, statues in front of coffee shops and on top of buildings. They look like me. Sweden, Danish, Denmark, the Netherlands, France, Italy, Sicily. People don't have this information, and conscious Moors are not united. Conscious Moors are not strong enough. There's conscious Moors are fighting against each other. Who got the biggest stick? My process is better than yours. It's like there's no banding together among conscious Moors. We're weak, pathetic. See this fighting among conscious Moors. Our children are dying. And conscious Moors are fighting each other. Our children are dying. We're pathetic. We ain't shit. Fighting each other, our children are dying. Yes, I'm emotional. My sister here lost a son. She lost a son. The violence, gun violence. And we're fighting. Conscious Moors are fighting each other. I said, I bow to you. I thank
Bow
you.
to you too, my brother. Reciprocated energy.
I can barely hear you. Because I had gotten
I bow
a call.
to you.
That's what it is.
I bow to you as well. Reciprocated
So
energy.
let me go out. Let me go out and come back in.
You can't hear me?
I got a call. Let me go out and come back in.
Okay. I can read some of the questions. Sister Valerie, please show countries that were occupied by the Moors. 1 second. Peace, Brother Shem.
Oh, he made it.
Peace. How you doing, Nobles?
Party? You made it to the party.
I've been here.
Couldn't stop.
I've been here. I've
Are
been
you
here
in
for a
there?
while.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I've been here
bad.
for a while.
I take it back. I take it back. That's my man. Right there.
I'm just listening to Jordan. I'm joining the wisdom. I'm listening.
He loves
I was
when I
out
teach. Yeah, he loves what I teach, but you know.
I love it. I'm laying back.
Yeah.
You
All right. So
hit the nail right in the head. You hit the nail right in the head, brother. In other
I
words,
don't apologize for my
you bringing the
passion.
sunshine. You bringing the sunshine down, brother. Bring that carbon down. Bring that sunshine down. That's right. Fleck that, illuminate them. Fleck that light, brother.
Let's open up for questions now. I'm done right now. I'm done. Let's open up for questions.
Okay.
There's no need for me to go further. Yeah.
One of the questions, please show countries that were occupied by the Moors in North America in the 1400s, 1200s, showing the Moors being indigenous to the lands of North, South, Central America. Thank you.
Can I add something to that, Abdullah, for your answer? First of all, we can't ask that question. Is a trick question. It can't be answered. You know why? Because there was no such thing as America in the 1400s. America started existing when Europeans took control with Northwest Africa. The British, the French, the Denmarks, the Dutch, the Portuguese, Irish, Italians, everybody named the political jurisdiction America, Morocco, Northwest Africa. So back then, there was no America. No such thing, America. America is a word, conjure up. It's a created word, constructed word. Created, constructed word describing the European political jurisdiction over Northwest Africa, Morocco, and Moroccan Empire.
So what area was the area that Sister Valerie is?
Yeah, I had to say Northwest Africa. That's what it was. Northwest Africa. And Moroccan Empire and Northwest Africa. Morocco and Northwest Africa. See, we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful when we thinking and we speaking. I learned this from Professor Abdullah. When somebody asks you a question, when you ask a question about what was the Moors political jurisdiction at the time of North America. North America was not coined back then. So you have to ask a question like, I can only answer by saying there was all over the world, a Caribbean line, all over Caribbean line. What you mean? Phoenicia, Asia, Africa, wherever island or piece of earth that's floating in the water, or more was there.
There is the coat of arms. Sister Valerie Price Bey, can you put in the chat the coat of arms that I sent you yesterday? Was that yesterday or today? The coat of arms of Central South America countries with their Moorish fairs, so they can see the Moorish fairs in about 12 or 13 countries. So you put that in the chat for the people. These are Nicaragua, Haiti, Cuba, Colombia, what's other? Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Haiti, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and a few others. You'll see the Moorish fairs, and that's a coat of arms is a nation. That's the national coat of arms. So the coat of arms is so. What does that reveal? That embodies through symbology, the pedigree, the Moorish pedigree, consequently of the people. They're not Nicaraguans. They're not Cubans. They're not El Salvadorians. Those are not nationalities. Hear me out. I know they call them nationalities. I know the world calls them nationality. That's a constructive. They're using constructive language,
yes, sir,
by calling them nationalities. They're not pedigrees. So the word nationality is being used in a constructive sense to mean citizenship. Those are not, they're not using the word nationality in its original sense and application, and that of the sense of consanguinity, ancestry, lineage, descent, pedigree. In the 1932, so I'm gonna give y'all context. I'm not coming out my butt. In the 1932 German Nationality Act, Let me put it in. Let me put that German Nationality Act in its broader historical context. Throughout the 1800s in Germany, there was a political football between just solely and just singleness. Just singleness, blood, law of blood. Just solely mean that you can be born in Germany and acquire the German nationality. So there was throughout the 1800s, you had this political football, this political power play back and forth between just solely and just singleness. All right, so I got to put this. Here we go, 1932, and Germany did was use in that German Nationality Act the name German in a consanguinity sense. So the name German in that German Nationality Act was used in a consanguinity sense and not in a political sense. Throughout the 1800s, it was used in the consanguinity sense, and then when used in the political sense. Used in the consanguinity sense, used in the political sense. Used in the consanguinity sense, used in the political sense. All right? And using German in a political sense, it robs the people of their inheritance by using German in a consanguinity sense. It preserves the inheritance of the people. Let me continue. In 1948, United Nations Human Rights Proclamation.
Yep. That's right.
Article 15, Section 2. Article 15, Section 2 of the 1948 United Nations Proclamation reads, everyone has a right to change his nationality. That is using nationality in a political sense. They're stealing the birthright. That's a construction. Nationality is in the nationality in chapter 2 of Moors and Masonry. Chapter 2 of Moors and Masonry part 2. Chapter 2 of Moors and Masonry part 2. I show a womb, a fetus in a womb of a woman. What I'm doing is I'm demonstrating through artwork. Nationality is the proper use of the word nationality. The proper use of the word nationality in the category it fits in ties to biology and genetics. It's not. So what they're doing in international law is they created a constructive sense for nationality and using nationality in a political sense, suppressing its biological, its consanguinity sense. Germany went to use the consanguinity sense. By doing that, they're reserving the inheritance and sovereign power of Germany. This is important. Language is very important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So once again, they're not Nicaraguans. The former president of Philippines, Duterte, he has 3 women behind him. 3 women. He has 3 women standing behind him. And he discusses that the name Filipino is after the Christian king,
the conqueror.
The conqueror Philip, King Philip.
Yep.
So someone says to you, I'm Filipino. Whoa. You said you are Filipino. You're saying that you're proud? You're proud to be named after your conqueror? You're proud to take on the name of your conqueror. That's the name of their conqueror. It don't mean that today. How can it not mean that today? That's the name of their conqueror. We don't know anything. We got to increase our knowledge base. By increasing our knowledge base, we'll increase our power. All right, so she said, "Oh, we're going to fill another question." So I'll continue. So in the coat of arms, so once again, Sister Valerie, place in the chat, if you've done so already, the coat of arms so they can see it. So I don't want them to say Abdullah said anything. I want them to have the information, or they can Google. You can Google the coat of arms of Nicaragua, Cuba, Haiti, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Colombia. You could Google the coat of arms, and you'll see it's soft fez. You'll see a pyramid in a soft within a pyramid. I'll say, will it fulfill another question?
Okay, we're going back to Sister Valerie wanted me to read her first question because she feels that it would make more sense to you, Shem. And so the question was, did the conquerors of the Moors take continent of Morocco and call it North America, Central America, and Central America?
Okay.
Did the conquerors of the Moors take continent of Morocco and call it North America and Central America?
I would say yes. It took a Moroccan Empire. Yes, they did. No Pacific. Yes, they did. Exactly.
Let's do this, Shem. Let's do this. Let's give the listening audience, the viewing audience. Let's look at Moors and Masonry Part 1. Let's look at the power. All right. Is it plausible? Is that plausible? Is what Shem is saying plausible? Yes, it is. I'm raising the question, I'm going to answer it. Is the answer that Shem presented? Is it plausible? It is plausible. On what basis, Abdullah, that you would ask me, on what basis, Abdullah, are you saying it's plausible? The preponderance of evidence, the diplomatic and consular relations, the wars and captivity, the ransoming and captivity strategy, the military engagements and wars, the seizing ships, the Moorish power, the trade and protection treaties. So yes, it's plausible based on Moorish power. Based on Moorish power of the 700, 800, 900, 1100, 1200, 13. Yes, it's plausible based on Moorish power in the Mediterranean and Atlantic in the 15 and 16 and 1700s. Yes, it's plausible. Yes, it's plausible that the name America is derived, that there's the linguistic connection between the name America and the name of Morocco. It's plausible. No one, I can stand in front of anyone in the world. I can stand in front of anyone, any scholar, anywhere in the world. I said it's plausible. I said it's plausible. And I gave what? Evidence. I pointed to evidence in Moors and Masonry. It's plausible based on Moorish power. It is plausible. So hear me out, y'all. Let me teach you how to construct the argument. Say it's plausible. Say that it's plausible and present the evidence. Present the evidence of Moorish power. Present the evidence. Present the evidence of the Moorish captivity of Europeans. Present the evidence. Present treaties, letters. Present the evidence of tremendous Moorish power. You got to do that first.
Okay, next question. We have another question.
I just want to give them, I want to empower them a set so they can know how to argue, how to present evidence. Yes.
Okay. This says, meanwhile, Professor James Smalls openly admits that he's in the Prince Hall Lodge. Is it he doesn't know Abdullah, or are these people not for our kind? Can you first explain what the Prince Hall Lodge is? And then answer the question.
Prince Hall are our brothers. Prince Hall Lodge are lodges that are predominant, that has whose members are our brothers. That's Prince Hall. All right. You know, so you have, you know, so that's one of the oldest unconscious Moors. The oldest unconscious Moors Masonic organization. All right, Prince Hall. All right, because you also have George St. James. There's other ones that have whose members are brothers. But Prince Hall is the oldest unconscious Moors on a Masonic organization. All right. So he belongs to that. I know quite a few Masons who do not know this. So because he is a member, because you're making, all right, you're saying that because he's a member, he knows. No. The implication is they're being taught this in the lodge. The implication is that they're being taught what you're being taught right now, that these types of lessons are being taught in the lodge. No, they're not.
Nope, that's right. No.
So no.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
I'm not saying he doesn't know. No, I'm not. I'm not saying he doesn't know. I'm saying because he belongs to an order doesn't mean he knows. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't know because he could have studied outside. If he does know, he didn't learn this from the order. If he does know this, he didn't learn this from the order. He's learned this from independent research. All right. Next question.
I actually have a question.
I know.
Yes. So when Professor Small was saying, when he was referencing Marouche and Marish and all these different words, where did he get Marouche from? And where?
That's just a variant form of Morocco. Marrakesh, Marouche, those are just variant forms. Are based on the language. If it's Latin, if it's Greek, if it's French, Marouche would be French. All right, so it depends what language. It depends on once again, language label. Depends on the language label. We went through Black. You're right. We saw, the different forms based on the language label. All right, so based on the language that it travels through, it's going to go through a sound shift, French or Latin or Spanish or Greek or Dutch or Danish or Swedish. All right, that's all. Good question. Just ask on.
Yeah, someone said Prophet Noble Ali said you are not Negroes, black, colored, or Ethiopian.
All right. See, here we go again. All right, here we go. All right, I said, this is what I'm saying. It's too much of that. It's too much of that.
What?
Is it because Juali said that you're not Negro, color, black? It's too much of that, Aset. That's why you saw me exaggerate that. Why did I exaggerate the point? Because it's too much of that. Juali said, so once, all right, they're going to tell their co-worker. They're going to go tell their co-worker, their family members, their loved ones, people on the block. Juali said, we're not nigger, color, black. Juali said, we're not nigger, color, black because Juali said we're not that. We're not nigger, color, black because Juali said we're not that. Aset, that's too weak. I know they're not going to like me, but I really, Aset, that's weak. That's weak, Aset, because they're going to talk to their co-workers and family members. That's weak because they can't support it. They're just going to say, Juali said. I said we got to rise in knowledge to be able to support our position. We got to be able to support. That's why we're doing this. I thank you again for this platform. We got to be able to rise. I don't want anyone to say Abdullah said anything. You would disappoint.
Okay, another question. Is Professor James Small misleading our people because his lack of information?
Well, he presented one side. He presented one side that and focused only on he gave the different language labels of Moor and the meaning in Greek black, but he did not do that for black though. He didn't do that for black. So of course those who are listening to them think they're black anyway. They think they're black anyway. It's like, why doesn't he do that for black? Like, all right, the way he did that for Moor and how he, why does he do that for black?
Mm-hmm.
The black is, modern English form and, like I did, that's there, You see, you can look that up. Everything I present, you can find, you can look up.
Well, the black is not a people. That's right.
Yeah, but so why does he do that then? Why did Professor Ball do that then? Why didn't Professor Ball say there's no people ever called black? There's no people that ever called black 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 10,000 years ago. There's no people. Why did Professor Ball do that? That there's no people called black. But he did it for more though.
Hmm.
Nobody in North Africa is calling himself Moor. Nobody in North Africa is calling himself Moor. He really, but why didn't he do it for black though?
Another question.
Yeah.
Did the ancient Moors call themselves Moors?
All right. I said, I don't make stuff up and I'm not going to do it. All right. I'm going to give you evidence that I do have.
The treaties, right.
You said ancient, you may be talking 5,000, 10,000 years ago. I don't have that evidence. So if I said yes, I would want you to challenge me and say, well, Abdullah, did the ancient 10,000, 5,000 years ago? And if I said yes, your next thing to come out your mouth, Aset, would be, prove it. I don't want you to ever, nor the listeners, to take anything I said. You don't need to do that because I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm only going to say what I can prove. If I say it, I can prove it. So I'm not going to put myself out there like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put myself out there like that, like I did in front of my European co-workers. I'm never going to put myself out there like that, what I did in front of my European co-workers years ago, and they laugh and mock at me. I will never, ever again be laughed and mocked by anyone. I'm never going to put myself out there like that. If I say I don't have the evidence, I'm going to say it. And I'm only going to stay with what I can prove.
Okay, Brother Ricky Bey, you have to be more specific, Brother Ricky Bey, in what time period you're speaking.
Well, you said ancient, 5,000, 10,000, 3,000. All right. I will go, I will follow the treaties. I would follow letters, preponderance of treaties, preponderance of letters. I can do that. All right. I can do that. If you say 10,000 years ago, I can't do that. 5,000 years, I can't do that. I will never put myself out there like that. You will not laugh at me. You will never laugh at me. Will never mock at me, because I'm not going to put myself out there like that. I will only stay with what I can prove.
Gotcha.
And I got a lot of information. I got a lot of information that I can stand.
Next question.
I understand what Professor Abdullah said. Now, if he asked Abdullah, did the people back there in ancient time call themselves the Olmec? Yes, he can say so because they got archaeology dating back thousands years ago. Yes, he can say yes, the people did call themselves Olmec because there is a hieroglyphics architect to prove that ancient, going back 10,000 or older, the people historically called themselves and that name. So I understand what Professor Abdullah said. What we have only is by the power. What's in power today? Treaties, communication, language. Based on language going back to the 1500s, the 1600s, 17, 18, 1900s to now, nations are communicating with each other through language. So in the language is the verbiage, the word. The word, look at the words that's in the language. The words going back to the 1500s. Now, if he mean, was the Moors in power at that time? Yes. The 1500s and before? Yes, absolutely. 1790, yes, there's in power because there's documents to prove that. Absolutely. So if it go back that far, then why we have to question ourselves when the Europeans don't question themselves when it comes down, their people ruled something 100 years ago. They settle on that.
Somebody questioned them. Shem, that's not his question. Shem, that's not his question. That's a question that someone asked him while he was having a discussion with a friend. That's right. So let me, all right. So that's why. So what I'm saying is, and my brother, man, just hear me out. Whoever asked that question, focus on what you can show and prove. Focus on Moorish power, 700, 800, 900s. It's like, well, I can't prove 5,000 years ago, so I can't prove anything. I can't. No, that's not the case. Like, that's not the case.
That's right. That's right.
I think they're like, focus on what you do have. They don't even know the Shem. They don't even know the power of the 15, that Moorish power during the 15, 16, 1700. They don't even know that. They can't have discussion.
Or the 1400s, Granada. Yeah, absolutely.
In the 1200s. They can't have discussion on Moorish power in the 1200s. They can't have discussion in the 12. They can't discuss about the Mercedarians and Trinidarians. They can't discuss that the Mercedarians were established in 1238. And they can't discuss that the Trinidarians established in 1198 to raise money to get more Europeans out of Moorish captivity. They can't even have discussion on that because they don't even know it. But the focus is, well, I can't discuss anything 5,000 years ago. I don't know Jack now because I can't discuss 5,000, 10,000 years ago. I don't know anything. But what about the power, Moorish power, during what they call the transatlantic slave trade period? You're talking about Moors controlling the Ottoman dynasty and the Moroccan Empire, controlled the Mediterranean and the Atlantic during the 15 and 16, 1700s. What about that? Won't you discuss that? Won't you discuss Robert Davis's quote on the back of Moors and Masonry Part 1? The enslavement of Europeans doesn't fit the general theme of European world conquest and colonization, which is central to the scholarship on the early modern era. What is the enslavement of Europeans? That's Moorish power. Because who enslaved the Europeans? The Moors. That's Moorish power. You got these Europeans writing about Moorish power. I will never be laughed at or mocked at because I will only discuss what I know and what I can prove. You would never knock or map me. I guarantee you would. No one would ever mock or laugh at me because I'm not going to make a statement or claims that we cannot prove.
That's right. Absolutely. I respect that, Professor Abdullah.
I'm just not going to do it.
I agree with you. And another thing, too, if you go to sleep at 8 o'clock p.m. and when you sleep for 10 hours, what do you know within that 10 hours of your sleep was going on? What they did was through language, they put the people to sleep through language into a mental grave. So if you die out of this world, you don't remember nothing anymore. If you go to sleep, you don't remember nothing during the time you sleep because you're unconscious. So if you put somebody in a conscious state of mind for over, let's say, 400 years or 500 years of servitude of the mind, that means you put them in the grave. That's when you can say, well, the empire is sunk. What you mean? Sunk means dead, been buried. Who's the empire? The people. We the empire. We are the people. We've been sunk. We've been sunk to not knowing. We've been unconscious. We was dead. We was dead. Period. So if you're dead for 400 or 500 years, you having children, they dead too. Consciously. They don't know nothing. For the last 500 years, dead. No history, no knowledge of nothing. You just woke up. How can you just waking up worried about what happened 1,000 years ago when the people that gain power, live in your land, can't even find this, can't go back for that 300 years and talk about their power. So you know what they do? They go for this. They stick to the foundation of what got them there. The Star Spangled Banner, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and coming from the European nations.
1783, Treaty of Paris between Great Britain and the United States.
Remember, one thing they love the Declaration of Independence Day. They love that. See, they stick to what they can prove. What's the foundation? We, on the other hand, got all these treaties go back to the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. Nobody can never question you because in the treaty, the verbiage is more. But we've been mentally dead. We've been put mentally into a mental grave. In other words, our generation sunk. We died consciously, meaning that now they changed the words in the language. It's like anybody know about contract law know this right here. If you form a contract 25 years ago and you still alive and you sign as John Doe on that contract, you walk into that room and you got dispute in the courtroom. They said John Doe signed his contract, and you still just say, "Can John Doe please come up?" And you get up and say, "Who are you?" I'm Robert Smith. You're not a party to the contract. Robert Smith didn't sign that. In the contract with John Doe signed, John Doe emphasized the stipulations of the verbiage, the language in the contract. So therefore, only John Doe or his descendants can step up and represent that contract based on the language of it, based on what he said as an heir. So if the contract say Moroccan or Moorish, then it don't say black. So how can you gain anything by being called black? You're not a party to the contract. There's no such people like that. So what you're saying is that I'm dead. That's what you say, I'm dead. What you mean? I don't exist. If you don't exist inside a contract that was signed by sovereigns back then as a people, as a culture, you don't exist now. You're dead. You've been sunk. Your tribe, your clan, everything has been sunk, buried. Because what? Buried because you're unconscious. Death is a thing of conscious, being conscious. When a man dies, leave his body, the body's unconscious. It can't do nothing no more because it's unconscious. Unconscious of what? the soul, the spirit, the carbon. So when you die mentally, you're unconscious of what? All your inheritance, cultural inheritance, you're unconscious of that, so you're dead. I love Professor Abdullah when he teaches about that, because that's very important. Very important.
Next question. Can you explain the difference of Ghana in West Africa and Morocco in Northwest Africa? I ask because I do not know the difference. That is why I am here to learn. Thank you.
Shem?
Yes. Ghana is a political thing dealing with legal ethics. The people in Ghana was allowed under apartheid. There was an apartheid and cultural genocide. Being under oppression, the people band together to a community in a conscious state. See, here we go again. Under conscious state, they created a legal ethics title for themselves. And under legal ethics title or language, they represent themselves as Ghana. But if you look back, there's nothing in Ghana and the word never existed for a treaty. So the people only in their unconscious state, on oppression and subjugation, came together, band together, and decided they're gonna be a people under that title, that name, Ghana.
I know check the area outside. Check the area outside. They got big mouth.
Okay. Political deception. That's all it is. The people of Ghana have what you call a political existence as a subjugated subject, a subjugated subject that's living under the title of subjugation under political status as Ghana. You want to add anything, Abdul? You got something to that if you want?
No, we're good. Next question? No, you're good. Next question.
Let me see. Well, it's a statement. It's not really a question.
Statement is fine.
He's supposed to be a scholar. I guess I'm assuming he's talking about Professor Smalls. He's supposed to be a scholar, though, Abdullah, in the forefront of the conscious community in the lodge with the Moorish fez, pro our people. But no way, we are Moors, no comprende.
Well, I mean, what I presented the presentation, and you raised a good point, good point. He's supposed to be a scholar, and that this not having knowledge of Moorish history, you know, it's like he throws it out the window of like what is his extent? What is his study of Moorish history, of Moorish treaties, of Moorish power, of Moorish rulership in Europe, of Moorish power, of the Moorish captivity, the Moorish empire, the Moorish emperors, the Moorish beys and days, the Moorish caliphs. You know, what is this? You know, it's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because he doesn't display that. He doesn't display that. All right. I don't really have any more to say about that. So let's go to the next. It's 10:31. How long you want to go? I said.
Let's take this last question, this last statement rather, and then, okay, so the statement is Germany for the Germans by blood, exclamation point.
Yeah, that's the 1935 German Nationality Act. That German, you got to keep in mind, going back, that nationality has been given a constructive sense of a political sense. Nationality has been used in a political sense. So, and that was throughout the 1800s. There was back and forth, and so in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the German was used in a political sense, and what that does, it robs the inheritance of German people by using German in its consequentity sense. It now restores the sovereign power and the inheritance to the German people. So you gotta understand the use of constructive language in the political sense. Just like I said, 1948 United Nations Human Rights Proclamation, Article 2, everyone has a right, Article 15, Section 2, everyone has the right to change his nationality. How can you change your blood? How can you change your consanguinity, your national origin, your descent? You can't. So what is it being used? It's being used in a political constructive sense. They're suppressing the consanguinity sense of nationality. And they do that with other words. It's birthright theft. And we must be able to understand. You can only understand it through study. So I can't just, all right. You will never understand it without study. So I can't just say, well, we must need to understand. No. So I'm not going to say that. That's not intelligently. That's not intelligent for me to say that we need to understand. No, we need to study etymology. We need to study semantics. We need to study epistemology. Just to say, well, we need to come to understand. No, we don't. You ain't gonna come to understand anything without study.
That's right. Absolutely.
So I just gotta keep it real. I can't talk BS. I can't talk this. You know, we just gonna come to understand. So you come to understand through study. I'm just keeping it real, man. You know me.
Okay, last question. Then what is the original name of the soil before the name Ghana? Before it was called Ghana, what was the name of that soil right there?
Well, I don't know.
I wouldn't know either. I don't know. Have to research that. Have to research that.
Research that. I don't know.
No, I do know. I do know that during the conquest, annexation to conquest by the European powers in the 18th century.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, I do know that a lot of nations that's named on the other side of the world was over here. Like Grenada, the ancient Grenada, according to old map, the ancient Grenada is Nevada. It's called the state of Nevada.
We want to show that. Shem.
Yeah, I get that. I guess somebody got a map.
No, Shem.
Yes.
No, Shem. No, Shem. Don't even say it. Shem, don't say it. Don't say it, please.
All right, no problem.
I'll tell you why. Please don't even say it. Please don't say it. All right. So what I want you to do, Shem, is show it next time. Know why I'm telling you?
I get the old maps. I get the old maps.
No. I'm saying this. Please hear me out, Shem. What people are going to do, they're going to say, Shem said. We don't want people to say Shem said anything. We cannot have that. We don't want people to say Shem said anything. They're going to do it, brother. Trust me, they're going to do it.
What
we're going to do, Shem, is present the evidence.
Evidence, yes. What I do is I get.
We don't even say it. So this 86 what he said.
I will say. No,
what he said right now, because I'm telling you, we can't follow in that pattern. We don't want to follow. We don't want to fall in that pattern of so and so said. Are we saying? And then we can't. And they're going to say so and so said. They're going to do it. I guarantee you, they're going to do it.
Okay, let me set to say that. We don't have a name. We don't have I don't have a map right now where Ghana was called. But I do. If I'm not mistaken, I could get a copy of the map.
Don't say it. Just don't say it. Please don't say it. Just let it go. Let it go, bro.
I'll let it go. I'll show old map.
Let it go, Shem,
and look at the old map.
Shem, let it go. Let it go. Please don't. Please just.
All right.
Let it
right
go.
Now,
Shem, please,
right now, we don't have anything to show that Ghana
please let it
was
go.
named
Let it go. Please.
No.
Please let it go. Just let it go.
All right.
He will have the evidence. Just let it go. Please, I'm telling you what they're going to do, bro.
Yeah,
Please.
That would be good though to bring some maps on the different
maps.
We
want to present the evidence. That's all. We don't want to just talk. We want to present evidence.
So next week we can have the different maps and
just present evidence, because I'm telling you, they're going to say. I'm telling you now. I got 30 years of observation with thousands of people. They're going to say Shem said. I'm telling you, they're going to tell that they're going to go to work the next morning. They're going to go to work the next morning. When they get off, when we end tonight, they're going to talk to it. They're going to say, Shem said. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. Shem knows that I'm speaking the truth. We don't want that. We do not want that.
Got you.
All right. Closing remarks, Shem?
The closing remarks is that we have been awakened for the last let's say 500 or 600 years of turmoil, subjugation. So during that 500 years, generations of people, of ages of our people has been not enlightened, not illuminated, or passed down information, meaning inheritance. Nothing has been handed down because the matriarch is the education. That's a woman, feminine. So we haven't given no nutrition of the mind, hand down information. But that's happening now that they interject us with false hearsay through subjugated language. Now when the truth comes out, we're being challenged by our own people because our people are still in a state of chaos of thinking. They're still in an unconscious state. That means they have not been awakened yet. They're still dead, consciously dead to their culture. So by being dead to your historic culture and not being illuminated and have the wisdom to go with that, we got turmoil because we still are sunk. We bury. When it says a nation sunk in the sea or empire, that don't mean the empire is sunk in the sea, the land sunk. That means the people, they're in an unconscious state. When the people's in an unconscious state, as generation goes on, the whole empire, a nation sinks in the sea because there's no conscience. When there's no conscience, you're buried, you're sunk. You don't exist. Language is the key to everything. Language. I agree with Professor Abdullah. You got anything to add, Abdullah?
Go to mooresandmasonry.org to get my books and go to the Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. It's been shown on across the stream for 2 hours. Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. You have the Moroccan Post, the Moorish Treaty Protection and Constellation courses. You have the Moroccan, you have the Moorish Body Politic Formation courses on there. You have other presentations that we've done. Just go on there, Moroccan Post Media YouTube page, and my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, my etymology books, Masonic Compass Square, the connection of measurement, timekeeping, and how Venus and Moon and Illuminati and Illumination of the Mind book. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. Thank you again, are set for this platform. All right, we'll see y'all again next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Stay blessed. Peace.
Yes.